the ground type. Very strong offensively and tied with fighting for the most amount of super effective type advantages at 5. However, unlike fighting, it's lacking in its defensive abilities. So here we go, calculating the best ground type combination. To calculate the greatest type combination for this video, I will be using this formula. Hopefully I can simplify and explain this quickly. So basically a type combination will gain 2 points for each type it is super effective against, and a bonus 1 point if both of its affiliated types are super effective against the same type. It will lose 2 points for each weaknesses, an additional loss of 3 points if it has a double weakness. It will gain half a point for each resistance, another half point for every double resistance, lose 2 points if both types are resisted by the same type, gain 2 for each immunity, and lose 2 for each liability, which are types that are immune against it. Hopefully you understood that. If there is a tiebreaker, I will just choose. And since we are dealing with the ground type, I will only talk about the combinations immunity to electric and liability to flying if it involves more than just those 2 types, since all ground types has this characteristic. In 17th, and the worst ground type combination is ground and grass. This combination is super effective against 7 types, with both ground and grass being super effective against rock. It only has 2 resistances and 4 weaknesses, with a double weakness to ice. Both ground and grass are resisted by grass and bug. Final score 1. In 16th is ground and psychic. This combination is super effective against 6 types, with both ground and psychic being super effective against poison. It has 4 resistances and 6 weaknesses. It's a liability against flying and dark. Final score 1. In 15th is ground and rock. This combination is super effective against 8 types, with both ground and rock being super effective against fire. It also has 5 resistances, with a double resistance to poison, and 6 weaknesses, with a double weakness to grass and water. Final score 2. In 14th is ground and dragon. This combination is super effective against 6 types, with 3 resistances. It also has 3 weakness, with a double weakness to ice, and has a liability to fairy and flying. Final score 2.5. In 13th is ground and normal. This type combination is super effective against 5 types with 2 resistances. It also has 4 weaknesses and the immunity to both ghost and electric, but liability to ghost and flying. Final score 3. In 12th is ground and electric. This combination is super effective against 7 types with 4 resistances. It also has 4 weaknesses, but is a liability to both ground and flying. Final score 4. In 11th is ground and fighting. This combination is super effective against 8 types, with both ground and fighting being super effective against steel and rock. It also has 4 resistances, with a double resistance to rock. It also has 6 weaknesses, with both fighting and ground being resisted by bug. Also, it's a liability to both ghost and flying. Final score 4.5. In 10th is ground and dark. This combination is super effective against 7 types with 4 resistances. It also has 6 weaknesses and the immunity to psychic and electric. Final score 6. In 9th is ground and poison. This combination is super effective against 7 types with 5 resistances, including a double resistance to poison. It also has 4 weaknesses and is a liability to flying and steel. Final score 7. In 8th is ground and ghost. This combination is super effective against 7 types with 3 resistances, including a double resistance to poison. It also has 5 weaknesses and is a liability against normal and flying, but has the immunity to electric, normal, and fighting. Final score 8. In 7th is ground and ice. This combination is super effective against 9 types with only 1 resistance. It also has 5 weaknesses and a final score of 8.5. In 6th is ground and water. This combination is super effective against 6 type, with both ground and water being super effective against fire and rock. It also has 4 resistances and only 1 weakness, which is a double weakness to grass. Both ground and water are resisted by grass and has a final score of 9. In 5th is ground and bug. This combination is super effective against 8 types with 3 resistances. It also has 4 weaknesses and a final score of 9.5. In 4th is ground and fairy. This type combination doesn't exist. If it did, it would be super effective against 8 types with 4 resistances. It also has 4 weaknesses and the immunity to both electric and dragon. Final score 12. And 3rd is ground and fire. This combination is super effective against 8 types, where both ground and fire are super effective against steel. It also has 5 resistances and 2 weaknesses, with a double weakness to water. Final score 12.5. And 2nd is ground and flying. This combination is super effective against 8 types with 3 resistances. It also has 2 weaknesses with a double weakness to ice, but the immunity to both ground and electric. Final score 12.5. In first place and the best ground type combination is ground and steel. This combination is super effective against 7 types, with both ground and steel being super effective against rock. It also has 8 resistances with a double resistance to rock. It also has 4 weaknesses and the immunity to poison and electric. Final score 13.5. And that's my calculation of the ground type. Since the ground type is viable offensively, its main purpose of being paired up with another type is to be better defensively and to be able to hit flying types. And yeah, that's the video. That's about it.